Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Cutting Through the Bullshit. I am your host, Dr. Stephanie Snyder, and I am a high performance mentor. Through my unique blend of strategy, mindset, and intuition, I help men and women to cut through the BS in order to create the life and business they desire. So the new year starts in just a couple of days, and I'm going to give you my tips on setting yourself up for success in the new year. So get out your pen and paper. You're going to want to take some notes because I want to help you make 2025 the best year yet. So let's dive in. Now, I have not taken notes and written this down. I probably should have, but we're just going to kind of wing it based off of what I know I do towards the end of the year. So what I like to do is definitely start with some reflection, right? So I will look back at what my intentions were for the beginning of this year, right? This previous year. So the beginning of 2024, what were my intentions? And then I will reflect on, okay, what worked, what didn't work, what can I do differently? Okay. And I never ever beat myself up for not achieving something. I don't. I give myself a whole bunch of grace and I go, okay, is that still a priority? Is that something I still want to achieve in the next year, or have my priorities shifted a little bit and I don't really want that thing anymore, right? And that's okay. Totally okay for that, right? It's just important to be aware of it, because if your priorities have shifted and it's no longer important to you, that's okay. You don't need to beat yourself up for not achieving it. But if it is something that you still want to achieve, we got to look at why it didn't work. Why weren't you able to do it this year, right? And so that's where those three questions come in. What worked? What didn't work? What can I do differently? Now, if you didn't set any intentions for 2024 and you were just kind of winging it because you were like, you know what, I set intentions every year, or I set resolutions and none of them come true, so I've just quit. I get that as well, right? Like, I understand that. And so what I like to do, and this is an exercise that actually a girlfriend told me the other day, she still has it mapped out and she found it really, really helpful, is the $1 million version of you exercise. Okay, I call this the $1 million version. I learned it from a mentor of mine, and I just liked it because if you had $1 million in the bank, you would be you'd be a different person. Not in the sense where not in the sense that you would totally change, but your authenticity, the true you, would actually come out if you weren't worried about money. It's true, 1,000,000 times over, right? Because money is one of the biggest stressors in our lives. So if you didn't have to worry about money, who would you be? How would you show up? Now, the thing I love about this exercise is that it forces you to look down at what your typical day is, what kind of activities, what kind of habits, how does this person act? Are they a giver? Are they a saver? Are they a spender? If you had $1 million in the bank right now, how would you show up for that day? Who would you be? You'd probably prioritize things a little bit different, and that's okay, because by looking at this, you get to go, okay, what is actually important to me? And you get to see it differently. And the beauty of that is that this is not like a New Year's resolution where you start everything January 1st. I actually recommend not starting anything until the first full week of the year, right? So January 1st actually lands on a Wednesday this year. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Wednesday this year, right? So January 1st lands on a Wednesday. So I take that first week, the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, right, whatever, to just enjoy the fact that my kids still aren't in school. And then the first Monday of the year is when I go, okay, what am I actually shifting and what am I actually changing? What do I need to continue to work on that maybe I haven't achieved yet, right? And how do I do that? How do I create baby steps for these things? And so on a previous episode, I talked about this 1% change. That's actually how I run my life is, okay, I'm not entirely where I want to be. So what do I need to shift? What beliefs are coming up? What's stopping me from actually doing the thing that I really want to do, or being the person that I really want to be? Because I firmly believe that it matters a whole lot who you are than what you do, right? Because if you're not being yourself, it's going to be difficult to get the impact with just the stuff that you're doing. And I know that all of us want to impact in some way, shape, or form, whether it is your immediate family, whether it is a larger group of people, whether it's your community, whether it's your state, whether it's your country, right? We all have this innate desire to impact people. But we can't do that if we're not sure how to even get started, right? So this $1 million version of you exercise, right? If there's $1 million in the bank account, you don't have to worry about money. And you can be whoever you want to be. What does your day look like? What are some of your activities? What are some things that you do, right? And then when you have that list and it feels complete to you, I want you to pick one of those things. And I love this next part because I don't believe that a New Year's resolution where you do 1 million things on the first day and you set yourself up for failure is helpful. Okay? I believe that we need to build on top of our previous years, right? We're laying a really great foundation. We're actually building who we are year after year. Now, some of those pieces you might need to take out and be like, oh, that actually, I don't want that to be me anymore. Okay, cool. So like we got to put a different block there so the whole thing doesn't come crumbling down, right? And so it gives you an opportunity to say, okay, here's where I am currently. And I talk about this so much. If you don't know where you are currently, it will be impossible to get where you want to go. So spend some time dreaming, okay? Dreaming that $1 million version of you. What does your day look like? What are your habits? What kind of foods do you eat? What kind of things do you say? What kind of things do you think, right? Because I know $1 million in the bank, I'm not going to worry about money. I'm going to be like, okay, how do I invest it and get that money to grow more, right? These are things that I will think of, right? That I do think of. And so what does your whole day look like? What conversations do you have with people? What kind of meals do you have with your kids, right? Like, what are the priorities here? And then once you have that $1 million version of you, I want you to just contemplate where you are currently. Right now, in this moment, are any of those things something that you've already started to do? Do you work out regularly? Do you eat healthy? Do you have protein shakes? Do you take supplements, right? Like whatever it is. Chances are there's going to be some habits that you already have that are of that $1 million version of you. And that's awesome. So what I recommend you do is take a highlighter and you highlight the things that you already do. Perfect. Now, what you can do, and this is just for visual purposes, right? I do have this up here. So I put a little star next to the one that I'm working on. And then once that thing that, whether it's a habit, whether it's a behavior, whatever it is, right? We'll just call it habits. Once that habit becomes automatic and I no longer have to think about it, I highlight it and then I pick another one. Okay, so once I've picked, then I start it, right? This is the one that I'm working on right now because all those other things are already automatic. This is the next one I'm working on. And then same sort of thing. So I'm constantly choosing who I am being. And ultimately, my bank account will match that $1 million version of myself. I believe it through and through. Right? And even if you don't want to be a millionaire, that's okay too. Right? Like, I get it. But what you want to do, right, and the point of this exercise is that the $1 million version of you actually get to be the highest version of yourself. That's the goal. And so you've already created this roadmap for yourself. The problem is that people will get off track, or they will beat themselves up, or they will believe it's not important, and they'll quit. But if you just stick to that one thing, that one habit, until it's that one activity until it's a habit, or that one thought process, behavior, right? Until it's a habit, then you're constantly building towards that highest version of you. And you can't fail. And it doesn't matter how long it takes. It doesn't, right? There'll be some days where you don't exercise. That's okay. There'll be some days where you forget your supplements. That's fine. There'll be a week that you're too tired and you don't do anything. That's okay. You just want to keep moving forward at that 1%. And come next year, when you look at that, you can see all of the things that you've already completed, that you've already created in your own life. All of the habits, all of the parts of you that are working towards that $1 million version of you, and you can celebrate it all. I have my list right here next to my desk, and I am going to go through and highlight some of the things because I haven't highlighted them all as soon as they've become complete, but I will definitely be updating this in the next couple of days because like I said, I take that first week to just really enjoy and not go straight like guns blazing into the new year. So clean out all the stuff, right? It's a great time to clean out and to purge and to make space for all of the new things, right? So if you do need help with this, please don't hesitate to reach out. We can do an activation session, which is just a single 90-minute session. This will be a great way for you to plan and prioritize and make it a priority for this version of you to come out in 2025. Because the truth is, if you made decisions today based off of where you want to be a year from now, your whole world changes. But so many of us make the decisions based off of where we are right now that we don't ever get out of that rut. We just keep going through the same motions. We keep having the same things come up again and again and again because we're not slowing down and making decisions based off of where we want to be. But rather we're making them based off of where we are. So let's figure out where you want to be, where you are currently, and let's bridge that gap. So I'm sending you so much love. I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your day. And as always, be you because the world needs more of you. Bye.